So let's make a video over the European arrest warrant, and I was wrong, I also found the original Austrian arrest warrant 27 ST90/22S, which the honest judges from Graz issued to have me arrested in 2022. Now, I know ever since we have a bit of a problem over this paper, but now I will read this arrest warrant with comment of the person who was falsely and innocently arrested. And I will also point out all the information what was written in this arrest warrant, which the judge could easily verify at that time in his computer to show it was false. And then you have to remember there is legally no evidence added to this arrest warrant, so it doesn't have legal ground. Although it sounds a bit like it's filled out of form, it certainly isn't legal because they are missing some crucial parts. Now, I asked quietly investigation to this from Austria since November 2022 because this involves a really big sex scandal, which I think Austria is going to be really embarrassed about, but they rather do it public on television, so let's help them and let's start with going over this arrest warrant. Let me note just first one thing. There is written on top the number 27 ST90/22S, and then underneath is written in all cases call to the Konrad von Hotzendorfstrasse number 40. Now, I know when I was arrested that the police immediately was calling to you guys to say that there was a big mistake. But for some reason, they wanted me anyway in prison in Austria. So I will just start to read. Justice. Graz Public Prosecutor's Offers. Document 27 ST90/22S. Please call in all cases. Konrad von Hotzendorfstrasse phone number. Then the name of the magistrate. Arrest order. Then criminal case against accused Christoph Lioris, born on blah blah blah, for 201, 105 and 106 StGB. Based on court approval, the Graz Public Prosecutor's Office ordered the arrest of Lioris Christoph, birth date, place of birth unknown, nationality Belgium, address, and here it's very important, they put my street, number 264, village, postcode, country, and then Hungarian address. Now, this address was wrong. And it's exactly the same wrong address that the honest judges from Klagenfurt are still using today to send me the new indictments. That's also why I say they are working for the same people, because this arrest warrant here was issued on the month of a criminal organization. This was recorded. This was the police investigating because these criminals, they were threatening they were going to go to Austria and have me arrested with a fake arrest warrant issued by French judges. Now, these people were pedophiles extorting large number of men in Austria. So when pedophiles go to Austria and they threaten that they are going to have judges, friends of them, do illegal things, what does this mean? But let's continue. Christoph Lioris is to be arrested immediately and handed over to the prison of the Graz Regional Court for Criminal Matters. You guys should consider changing the name to the Court of Criminals of Graz. It sounds more truthful then. Without unnecessary delay, at least within 48 hours of arrest, the public prosecutor's office is to be informed immediately of the arrest. So this actually means that within 24 hours I would have been interrogated by police normally to hear also my side of the story, which they of course never did. They did this on 9 November after I was in arrest from 29 September and lying about cases from 23 Augustus. How didn't they see this in the computer? But now we're gonna read the letter completely. I'm gonna try to keep the comments at the minimum and I try to cut it after and discuss what happened. Let's just read the European arrest warrant that I am trying to indict since 2022. This arrest warrant is completely full with lies, all lies that the judge could verify, and I will also prove this with a lot of evidence. But everything where I'm accused of, and I'm accused of being a repeat offender several times by these people, although I didn't have a criminal record or any priors in my life. I never was accused of any violent crimes or anything such things. But by these people, I am accused of being a repeat offender by their own accusations enforced. Also, the woman who made these accusations immediately went after to the police and she tried to warn the police that she was being forced by her pimps to make false allegations. So this woman was even so nice to record her attempts to notify the police, as you can hear in these recordings. To sabotage another investigation, which was mysteriously denied by the police. Now, strangely, the investigation what they were sabotaging, there was an investigation into this region in Graz, into brothels involved in an Epstein-Diddy-style sex scandal, which they also forget about this case, and when I tried to notify them, they called me a liar, black and white, where they actually committed perjury because the records show they were aware of this case since 23 Augustus 2022. And in October and November, they would be committing perjury about it. That they didn't know nothing about it. Let's just read the arrest warrant. This was to take out the whistleblower. Justice, Graz Public Prosecutor's Office. Arrest warrant 27 ST 90/22S. Arrest order. Against accused Christoph Lioris, born 4 201 105 106 StGB. One, based on court of approval, the Graz Public Prosecutor's Office orders the arrest of Lioris Christoph, birth date, birthplace, nationality, Belgium, address, my street, house number 264, village, Belgium, Hungarian address, pursuant to sections 170 paragraph blah blah blah, Christoph Lioris is to be arrested immediately and handed over to the prison of the Graz Regional Court for criminal matters without unnecessary delay. At the latest within 48 hours of arrest, the Public Prosecutor's Office is informed immediately of the arrest. In the eventual of judicial approval, the justification, according to the results of the investigation so far. So what do the judges mean with their investigation so far? Because actually I really want to know what they investigated. If they would have checked the Schengen information system, they would see these claims were impossible because this woman was in Austria all the time. I was in Belgium and Hungary. She nowhere was near me, but 3 weeks she met me, but this was translated in an abduction of 9.5 months. Although 9 months she wasn't nowhere near me even. And actually working in Austria in prostitution, being controlled every day there by police officers. And in the meantime also with a lot of visual evidence, because she was also stalking the person she was accusing of having done this all to her, who had then also already pressed several charges against them for the stalkings, but which also revealed other Austrian crimes which they rather don't discuss apparently. And because I accidentally revealed me apparently abducted and put me in a dungeon until they covered everything up. Or am I wrong? And then luckily I had no family who could save me with some diplomatic ties, because otherwise I would have disappeared into a dungeon innocently for 15 years probably. Christoph Lioris is strongly suspected of having committed, in the period from at least November 2021 to the end of July 2022, in Belgium and Hungary, he coerced November till 21 till July 22. I would have locked this woman into my house and raped her every second, third day, uncountable times. In this entire period, it's proven, undisputed, that I was only 3 weeks together with this woman. And there was a lot of footage of these 3 weeks, proving nothing happened as what she described. He coerced the raped person into engaging into tolerating sexual intercourse and acts equivalent to sexual intercourse by force and by threatening her with immediate danger to life or limb. So the judges found it normal that this woman who alleged she was abducted was sending these videos from Austria to her alleged abductor. Wasn't she abducted in Hungary normally, and didn't she have a phone normally? Section 89. The raped person was sometimes particularly humiliated by the acts, in that he placed one of his firearms on a mount in front of MB countless times, namely, at least every third day, but sometimes more often a day, or drugged her. He administered her cannabis hidden in food or forced her to smoke it. So according to the judges of Graz, they really investigated it and they claimed that I was drugging her. Now here you can see in the background some of the footage that this woman was sending during her stalkings to me from Brothel Palmhaus in Austria, and the conversations where I repeatedly asked her to stop with these drugs. But I am accused of drugging her. And there were also conversations where these people were trying to sell me drugs, trying to let me take even drugs. But I was, according to these judges who very well investigated it, the one who was drugging this girl, abusing her while she wasn't even in my house, but she was in a brothel in Austria where she was being controlled by the Austrian police. But of course, now I am the bad guy because I want answers how these judges can claim in this paper that they investigated this, although I can prove that they had all this evidence. So if these judges claim to be honest, then they are at least very incompetent and should be fired. And then, against her resistance, performed or several vibrators up to 15 centimeters in size. So remember that the woman who was accusing me of these crimes, where she was working, you can see here an advertisement in the background, and what she was doing there at her work every day, or what she had to do there every day at her work from these people. Now it's very strange as what she here describes as rapes, that she do this on a daily basis as work. And also the footage of me and her while we had a relationship of our intercourse was also recorded, and it clearly wasn't what she was describing. Also, the messages over our relationship were with the police, even during the time she was stalking me, and she never claimed anything about our sexual intercourse. She always even said it was the best that she had in her life. Not to brag, of course. So I was arrested immediately on 29 September without knowing my phone was caught. How much of this evidence was actually found somewhere what this woman was describing? 0.0. Huh? Why the judges didn't look to the evidence that there was? At an unknown time in April 2021 in Graz, he attempted to coerce her into an action, namely to come with him to Hungary, by making dangerous threats, by saying, "I'll give you 600 euros now, and if you don't come with me, I will throw a Molotov cocktail into this bar. Then you will burn. Then everybody will burn." So I am accused of threatening to blow a Palma House at the bar of Palma House after throwing 600 euro in the bar plot. Now I know that Palma House was full with security cameras, as you can see here in the pictures. So I would really love to see any footage that I would have been there doing this in April 2021. Because in the entire month April 2021 I didn't even was nowhere near Austria. I didn't even know of the existence of brothel Palma House that time yet. So it's very strange that I'm being accused for a very well investigated case, although I can prove that I was this entire month April in Belgium, even together with Euro parliamentarians in visit. So I really want to see evidence of this. Well investigated claims which the judges say that I had to be guilty of. And I don't really understand the urgency of arresting me in Augustus 2022 for what a prostitute claims I would have said in April 2021. This was the hard evidence against me for which they had to urgently arrest me? Are you people serious? And I didn't even say it then. This I also could prove then, even because I didn't even know the brothel existed, like I said before, at that time. Point 3. At an unknown time in July 2022, in Graz, he attempted to coerce her into an action, namely to come with him to Belgium. Again, the entire month, July 2022, I didn't was in Graz, Austria. So it's very strange that I'm being accused of having committed here abduction in broad daylight. At 9 o'clock in the morning in a busy city, I would have abducted this woman by pulling her on her t-shirt into the car and driving to Belgium. And there are no witnesses, not one security camera that have captured anything. And although there was even footage of this woman stepping into the car with a lot of baggage after she begged me to come to pick her up from Austria to get away from this brothel, then I find it very strange that the judge refused to look at this evidence, although the conversations and this footage was all with police, because this woman tried to file accusations on 24 June in Belgium with the Belgian police, not July, because she tried to run away from brothel Palma House. Now, I guess this evidence, which all was available for the judges from Graz from 23 Augustus 2022, and even sooner if they really did effort, that this really contradicts all the statements that here were made over me. But the judges refused to look at this, and there were also a lot of witnesses of these events. So why didn't the judges want to investigate this? By making dangerous threats of death, by dragging her into his car, repeatedly threatening, "You come with me now, otherwise I will kill you. I will kill her partner." Was her handler, and the nice man threatening to blow up me and my children if I didn't retract my testimonies about her and Palma House with the police. "I will kill the little one," after he had already sent her a photo with a gun in his hand the day before, as well as the voice messages according to which he would kill her. So you hear clearly the woman who didn't have a phone to contact for help, she received messages of me with a gun and spoken messages that I would come to kill her and everybody in Palma House. Now this applies that these messages should be there. When will I finally be able to see them? Because there is a lot of speaking about threatening messages from me, but there is not one message produced as evidence, although there are hundreds of messages that I and my family was being threatened with death and horrible things by these people, which all were handed in as evidence. So where is please one threatening message that I would do something to this woman, her work colleagues, and her nephew in Hungary if she didn't come immediately to him? Now, sorry to interrupt everything, but the truth is these messages of the real conversation were with the judge and he refused to watch at them. Because the conversation that I had this time with MB was available as evidence in the other case, and this certainly proved this all was a big lie. The rest of the case also, but especially this piece was proven from A to Z false, but still the judges didn't want to see to the evidence. Christoph Lioris is therefore strongly suspected of having committed the crime of rape under section 201 paragraph 1 blah 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 of the criminal code, offense coercion under section 15 of it's very difficult code to rape somebody in Austria, sorry. The strong suspicion is based on the comprehensive and credible statements made by the victim MB. Sorry to interrupt, with this they mean the video which I made about the two very credible testimonies that were used to have me indicted. This is the credible story the judge is describing here, by the way, just so everybody knows. In my other video you can go to see this credible story and verify these logical statements this woman had made. And on a legal note, according to the European Arrest Warrant Handbook and the European Human Rights Treaty, the International Human Rights Treaty, this is all illegal to put somebody in prison without evidence against them. And it's very clearly stated that the testimony isn't evidence and neither is a psychological report. And this psychological report wasn't even then made to ethical standards even. So why was I put in prison, please? Because this arrest warrant is clearly not according to the law. The statements the victim MB had made to the police and to the Gewaltschutzcentrum of Steyr. MB was able to describe in detail and coherent not only to the act cited in the present order, due to the Austrian jurisdiction, but also numerous other acts without revealing any unjustified incriminating tendencies. So I didn't have a criminal record. There was no evidence that I ever did something like this before, and this woman also didn't provide any evidence except her own stories, which the judge calls credible and logical, and which you can go to read in my other video when I go over the stories. There were two testimonies, like for example, she was locked in 9 months in my house, but she went 5 days a month in my house, and then 26 days a month she went to Austria to work in a brothel apparently, but she wasn't allowed to go to Austria neither. And in this brothel, of course, then she was there all the time posting social media posts, but she didn't have a phone. And I didn't have sent her messages for 1 month, but all the threats that are described here in this letter, apparently I have sent in the month that I didn't send her these messages. But they also cannot show these messages for some reason, but it's all logical and very credible, of course. Let's continue. And they say it's legal, this thing, but also that Austria have to take here jurisdiction. Without revealing any unjustified incriminating tendencies, showed and stated, for example, that things had been very nice with the accused at the beginning, and that they had consensual sexual intercourse. Her description of the accused behavior abroad, which accepts of the rapes, section 64 paragraph 1 4 SIGB, victims' habitual residence in Austria cannot establish jurisdiction of the part of the Austrian authorities. So let me translate this. This means that even if the rapes would have been true, what wasn't of course, then Austria wouldn't have jurisdiction because also she declared in Austria I never had even sex with her. But because of the NGO Gewaltschutzcentrum, they make an overview of the entire case and also the two fantasized threatenings that allegedly happened in Austria. Because of these two fantasized events, which also the NGO was intermeddling to have this registered with police for some reason, these lies, now Austria claims they have jurisdiction to have me abducted and try to put me 15 years innocently in prison for an allegedly raping an Hungarian woman in Hungary while Austria had nothing to do with it. So why was I being transferred to Austria, if I may ask? Because didn't Hungary declare that this all was clearly bullshit considering all the evidence available? And for the Austrian taxpayers, do you guys find it normal that the government wastes taxpayer money because as well as the government and the NGO Gewaltschutzcentrum, they are taxpayer funded with cases like this while they are letting criminals in Austria roam free, like the, how much, 16 or 15 guys with the gang rape in Vienna, no one convicted. Teichmeister, let free. The Ibiza scandal. But for this case, your Justice Department is spending your taxpayer money, so people know why you are paying taxes. With other words, with everything what this woman was describing, they say Austria doesn't have jurisdiction. But listen now. But taken as a whole paint of picture, they mean they put some lies also that I would have done threatening in Austria, the picture of an offender who controlled his victim in every respect, who not only severely sexually abused her, but also took away her money. Now, my bank statements disagree with these claims. Forced her to swear on camera how much she loved him and that he would not hit her. How much of these videos were ever recovered as evidence? And forbade her from returning to Austria under the threat of sending the pictures and videos taken of her during sexual intercourse to her family and friends. So she couldn't go back to Austria. Now let me please cite exactly out of her testimony. First paragraph. I came back a lot of times to Austria. Second page, fourth paragraph. In June, he wrote to me that he was in front of my house in Austria. Then I went down to see. Then she clearly was in Austria, right? And why she didn't call police? Why she went down if she was so scared, if I may ask? But then, after two paragraphs after 3 weeks, we went to Hungary, and from there I also went to Austria. Now, I think she clearly could go to Austria whenever she wanted, because she says she went a lot of times, and in another testimony she says she come 1 time a month, plus minus. This means 5 days, 26 days in Austria. How couldn't she return to Austria, please? Or shooting her partner in Austria, her work colleagues and relatives. Already 3 years I am demanding the judges, from when they were indicting me, to see this evidence and these messages or pictures or voice messages that I would have sent to threaten this woman or to threaten to expose video footage from her. There was though evidence that these people were doing exactly these things with me, a lot of evidence, but this wasn't investigated apparently. But I would really like to see this evidence, because otherwise I claim this arrest warrant is a false arrest warrant and very crookedly given by crooked judges. So claiming here you well investigated, Augustus 2022, this woman desperately comes to police. She's scared I am going to imminently going to kill her after she a month before escaped already from an abduction, which I didn't kill her in the month and she didn't hear nothing of me this month, but I would really like to see these messages. If she did not comply with him, her statements that the accused had several weapons, which is why she is very afraid of these threats to shoot him, are confirmed by the pictures of the accused and his weapons that she submitted. The photograph also shown that MB had massive bruises on her arms, which are consistent with the assaults by the accused that she described. A blue spot without any context, but there is a video on Facebook of exactly the same period where you can see this woman falling at a fair on exactly the same spot on her arm hitting on the ground. Now, is this what happened or what she told, of which there is no evidence to be found? Now, in the meantime, she also declared that she lied everything, of course, but at this time, this video was available for the judges, wasn't it? The risk assessment by the Gewaltschutzcentrum of Steyren revealed that there were strong indications for further serious acts of violence. Now, this is why I am suing these people, because didn't I have a clean criminal record and I never was indicted? Certainly not for any crime like this in time. Maybe I had a speeding ticket or something, but for something like this, I never was indicted or accused in my life. I never have an indictment of this. How the hell do they see further crimes? What crime actually was proven that I committed? Nothing. So they are falsely accusing me, and that's defamation, and I am suing them for this. And isn't this also the same woman that we can hear in the recording where so much fuss is about? Where she is clearly notified that I am innocent, and still she is funding with her NGO, which is funded by the government, an illegal lawsuit to try to put me 15 years in prison without even notifying the judge that this is happening? Now, sorry, then I want to sue her. Because this is just criminal. There had nothing happened, by the way. People just saying, this is the paper I'm suing over, by the way. The accused against the victim. So I was having a clean criminal record, and here they say further serious acts of violence. Where was this based upon? Because I was never in my life convicted of any violence. And by the way, I can prove I helped several women to get out of lives like this before in my life. And I want them all to come to testify if you want. See if it concurs anything what was described here of me. And I can also put people of who worked in the government to come testify on this subject if they want. There is a risk of obstruction of justice, section 38870, because blah blah blah. There is fear the accused is left at large will attempt to destroy possible evidence, such as his weapons, the videos, photos taken by the victim. Now, I was going this time to the police. I was whistleblower. I was handing everything over to the police as evidence, recorded, making testimonies, explaining all the evidence, handing over my phone to the police to be read out to get all the information. And they all had this information, and they say I am the repeat offender. But I am now also a criminal because I accuse these people of not being honest now, of course. There is a risk of obstruction, blah, blah, blah. There is a risk of commission of a crime. Because of the accused is strong suspected of several crimes punishable by more than 6 months imprisonment and due to his previous long-term offenses. Which previous long-term offenses, please? Because there was no offense at all before this. So this is perjury. This is serious perjury. In conjunction with the numerous assault against the victim, in persistence with getting MB to return to him. are you guys meaning, so the woman that was stalking me for an entire year, that she wanted to come to live with me, that she wanted me to leave my wife, that she wanted to have a relationship with me, is this the same woman you are talking here about, of which I was going to police? Please go to ask this woman to leave me alone. So here you can see some of the footage this woman was sending with the phone she didn't have from Palma House, where she didn't was, because she was clearly abducted. She didn't was in Brotal Palma House this time, and she didn't have a phone for help, but this she was sending to her alleged rapist in the time that she after would allege that she was abducted. So I think it's very clear to say that these judges were lying over the evidence, because this video clearly proved this woman was lying. So she say I was actually preventing her to go away, and that I was forcing her to... No, it's something not right here, I guess. Not? But of course it's all very well investigated. His persistence in getting MB to return to him, in according to the victim's statements at the Gewaltschutzcentrum, he is said to have already appeared at her workplace and searched for her. Moreover, he reported the victim's family for defamation and drugs possession, and stated that MB's mother should keep her eyes open. It can be assumed that if he left at large, he will commit further criminal offenses. So I really wonder what the judges mean with further criminal offenses. Was it an offense trying to help this woman to get out of this life? Was it an offense to report to police that this woman was stalking me with this crazy story and handing the evidence over to them? Was it an offense to be a whistleblower even after they asked to testify against these people because they were doing serious crimes? Was it an offense to help the investigation for as well Hungary and Austria? Was it an offense to tell the truth? And today, is it an offense to demand investigation into the serious human rights violations which happened after when these judges really did this all to me? Because in the investigation, there was recorded evidence of several threats that these criminals were plotting to do this. Now, isn't it normally very interesting to look at the officials who really did these things after? With serious consequences, such as the offenses with serious consequences for which he is accused. So, which crime? Because everything what I was accused of is fake, and that's proven now in 100 different ways. I was also shouting this from in the start, and I was also telling there is a lot of evidence which the judges refuse to look at, but which repeat offenses exactly, because I was the person who had the offenses committed against, not only by the criminals, but also by the judges and the police now. And now I'm not going to shut up that these criminals were also bragging and boasting on tapes that they were protected by crooked Austrian judges. This is what they were threatening me with. They say, get your testimonies back, or we have high powerful friends that will have you abducted and make you disappear in prison innocently. They even wrote it almost in messages, all with the police. But, of course, repeat offenses. It can be assumed that if he left at large, he will commit further criminal offenses with serious consequences, such as the offenses with serious consequences for which he is accused. And he is also accused of repeated offenses. Furthermore, so to understand this correctly, you are innocent until proven guilty is a basic principle of law. But in this case, me, an innocent man without any priors, was being accused of repeating offenses for which I wasn't accused already and for which they didn't even have any evidence. So I can say there was an imaginary crime, you did it, and even you say you didn't do nothing like this before in your life, because I said you did this crime, you are guilty of this, and you can be locked up because otherwise you will do it again. In view of the risk assessment by the Gewaltschutzcentrum of Steyr, and I seriously question this report, seeing which information is available. This report is not even worth to be used as toilet paper. So the person who wrote this report clearly has some explaining to do, I guess. So the report that the Gewaltschutzcentrum made states that the accused will carry out the threatened acts, especially the murder of MB, her family, and her colleagues. The arrest order is necessary to clarify the crime, and the arrest and detention are not disproportionate to the importance of the case in view of the sentence to be expected in the event of a conviction in accordance with suspicion. The public prosecutor... No, sorry, wait. Is this now the same woman who wrote this report who I am accusing here in the recording where I'm being sued over, that is actually knowing that I was innocent? Is this the woman that is accusing me to be a repeat offender? In her report to have me abducted is clearly knowing that I was innocent, and she cannot deny it, and she was still funding the lawsuit to put me 15 years innocent in prison, just so we all know what I am suing about. The public prosecutor's order and its judicial approval must be served on the accused immediately or within 24 hours of his arrest of the Code of the Criminal Procedure. This actually means I would have been necessary to arrest me within 24 hours on my side of the story, which happened very honestly on 9 November 2022. I was arrested 29 September 2022. The accused must be given legal advice immediately or immediately after his arrest in a manner he can understand and in a language he can understand, which informs his for the further procedures and rights within the meaning of section blah 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 of the law, which they clearly violated. I received a number of a lawyer at 17 October, which I wasn't allowed to call till 2 November. If the written instruction is not available in a language the accused understands, the instruction must be first given verbally of the Code of Criminal Procedure should be in the tweet, blah blah blah. The fact that the instruction was given must in any case be recorded in writing. And the Code 19, dus they have to give it to me in writing. I didn't receive nothing until 15 October when I go to Judge AR, signed by Judge NL, Public Prosecutor. Now, I'm sorry to say, knowing the information what is available in my letter to the Minister of Justice of all the corruption involving this case, all the proven lies that are written in this arrest warrant, because literally everything what I have just read out loud was proven lies, and the Austrian police had on record evidence disproving and contradicting this all, and still they issued this arrest warrant. Now this starts to really sound like the cases which KLA.TV is describing in the documentary Die Blutsekte. Don't you think?
Kinderschänderinge schützen. Seemann und Maillot wurden verfolgt, zeitweise sogar unter falschen Anschuldigungen inhaftiert und denunziert. Außerdem wurde der Slogan der Jeanette Seemann-Fake in die Welt gesetzt. Seemann wurde als Verschwörungstheoretikerin gebrandmarkt. Man findet fast nichts mehr über ihre Recherchen, fast alles wurde gelöscht.
They played serious criminal legal games with my family. I want to sue these people and this investigated how this was possible, because this is clearly abuse of powers. And if you want to have the evidence of it, please go to check out all my other videos with all the evidence containing this case and knowing why I was in prison, because it was to cover up the Palma House sex scandal, which I accidentally exposed with stalking allegations against my ex-girlfriend. Sorry, I had to drink. No, the real reason I was being arrested was because these people, they wanted to cover up the investigation to the Palma House scandal, where they were doing this Diddy and Epstein style scandal. And if for the people from Holland and Belgium, if you ever see the show Matrushkas, this the same, but the government in Austria was working together with the criminals. And this arrest warrant, which they said they clearly investigated, they call me a repeat offender, although there's clearly also a reference to the other allegations, the testimonies. They tried to disprove them. I didn't think they realized how much evidence there was with these indictments. I think they thought I went just to the police and tell a crazy story. Listen, this woman is telling this, and they were going to get it under out. They better had verified in the Schengen information system and looked up how much evidence was given already to their own police and to the police of Hungary about this case. Because this is the evidence they are lying about. They tried to cover this up, but they were too late. The evidence was already registered, and the case was already ongoing. And they really went overboard by lying about the Austrian investigation, because it was sent to their offices, because the criminals were strangely also living in the same area where these judges were doing all these things against the Belgium and holiday in Hungary. Trust me, this is a very interesting case to investigate. I have to end it here. This documentary was made for Infowars.com. Please support Alex Jones. Go download X, subscribe to Alex Jones. Don't follow me, follow Alex Jones, and you will know tomorrow's news today. And
TheYellowStoneStore.com, funding the truth. When you back us, you back your own future, you back the children. Stay with us.
Step right up, folks, please don't stall. Mad scientist Alex has got a cure for y'all. With the bloop, 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 and the fizz so fine, it'll pep your step and sharpen your mind. In a clean white lab with a patriotic grin, he's mixing up the freedom, come and drink it on in. Sold on the site where the good times hum, on AlexJonesStore.com, yes, that's the one. Now he's got a treat that'll make you skip. Still legit gamies for that power trip. Pop one in and you'll feel brand new. Strong like a bull and make your brain flex too. For the power.
Order Shilajit gummies at the website below.